monk beer.
Wizards.
And I heard wizards. I didn't remember it being this dark. I remembered it being a little brighter red.
Kill it, I can stop
Finally.
that, the streak
Take on the loose.
of killing.
Mm-hmm.
And because they were afraid, like they buried it with
people.
a bunch of stones, mud.
Welcome back to Beer Brackets, everybody. We are continuing on our lead up to St. Patrick's Day with a different kind of video. You might have seen our top 3 videos before. This one, Alessandro, isn't exactly a top 3. We're giving people more than 3. It's a bonus beer episode. Bonus beers.
Who doesn't like bonus beers?
Who doesn't like bonus beers? The purpose of this episode is pretty simple. We're going to be looking at the top beers, the top Irish beers for St. Patrick's Day. So if you have St. Patrick's Day parties coming up and you're wondering what beers should I bring, what beer should I be drinking at home, cracking open at home, we're going to give you 2 recommendations each, Alessandro and I on our end, but also we're going to be doing something a little special. We're going to be involving our viewers. So a couple of weeks ago, we asked our viewers to post a comment on a specific video that we put up asking what beers do you like to drink on St. Patrick's Day, and we got some great recommendations with what they think you should be giving a try to as well. My friend, I'm always the gentleman. I'll let you start off. What is the first beer that you are recommending?
Well, thank you so much, my friend. I'm actually very excited for this first one. I knew I have featured it on the channel before, but it's St. Patrick's Day. I had to feature it again. And my first beer is one you can't get, unfortunately, but it's the Guinness Foreign Extra Stout, which, in my opinion,
believe I can't get that one.
Is... I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to say it's an amazing beer. It's an amazing beer. What about you, my friend? What are you opening your beer brackets with?
That beer is just like, it's almost like a white whale. It's a dark whale. It's like a dark brown roasted whale.
It's a Guinness whale.
It's out there, man. It's just out there in the universe, and it's not exported to Canada for one reason or another. I can't get the extra stout, which we've already reviewed and talked about in the St. Patrick's Day lead up. But I am opening my St. Patrick's Day beer brackets, my friend, with my first recommendation. Smithwick's.
Love that one. I love that beer.
Ale. Such a great beer. And this one is so easily accessible no matter where you are. So Smithwick's, like I mentioned, is an Irish red ale. This is a style of pale ale that is brewed using a moderate amount of killed malts and roasted barley, of course. So it gives the beer this reddish color that you're seeing right here in this beautiful pour shot. Its strength typically ranges from 3.8% to 4.8% with this style, so it's not the strongest style of beer. Smithwick's Brewery, Alessandro, is actually really interesting. It was founded in Kilkenny, Ireland in 1710 by John Smithwick, and was run by the Smithwick family for quite some time, and now it's part of that whole Guinness Diageo family, right? And this is probably a subject for another beer legend at one point, my friend, so we'll have to come back to this. But the brewery was on the site of a St. Franciscan abbey, and where monks had brewed ale since the 14th century. So in one way, shape, or form, this is a monk beer.
Wizards.
And I heard wizards.
I see them.
Those Irish monks, man. Those Irish monks. So there you go. Production in the Kilkenny brewery actually finished back in December 2013. So now Smithwick's, along with all the other beers that are under that Diageo umbrella that are associated with Guinness, are brewed at the St. James Gate Brewery. So there you go. A little background on Smithwick's, my friend. Cheers.
Cheers to you, my friend. This is such a great way to celebrate.
Such a great way to celebrate. I think you featured this beer in our very first Beer Bracket of the Month episode, right?
I did, my friend. That's a very good memory.
Yeah, I remember look how dark that is.
Isn't it?
I didn't remember it being this dark. I remembered it being a little brighter red. Oh, look at yours, talking about dark. Jeez.
That is dark. Oh my, the aroma, man. Like you can smell it all over in the room.
Describe it a little bit. I know you've brought this beer up on the channel before, I know, but for anybody watching at home who might not have seen the other video.
Yeah. So it's incredible. Like you get all those beautiful roasted aromas, coffee-like dark chocolate, but it has the Guinness. That's the thing. It has that Guinness signature aroma.
It does, right?
So perfect, but it's cranked up. So it's like Guinness on high volume, like cranked up to 100%.
And when you say Guinness signature aroma, you mean like that really dark roasted really dark roasted malt, right? Like that signature Guinness aroma.
It really is. Hops are a little bit more present, but they are very balanced with the maltiness and the roasted. So it's not like it's hop forward at all, but you can tell that they're a little bit more present in the aroma. But you can't wait to get into the glass. Like, so it's so good. How about you, my friend? What are you smelling?
Well, I actually want to know, who would you recommend the Guinness Foreign Extra Stout to? If there are people watching at home who are thinking about maybe trying it, would you compare it to something else? What kind of beer drinker would you recommend the Foreign Extra Stout to? Because it's not an easy drinking beer per se, from what I've heard and based on what I've tried with the Extra Stout. Do you think you need to be like a connoisseur of stouts, or at least have some experience with stouts before jumping into it?
I wouldn't say so, because a lot of at least it definitely falls into the Irish dry stout like category, in the sense that it's not as thick and syrupy as many other stouts that you might have had as a barrel aged stout of sort. It still has that classic lightness that Guinness is able to have in all their beers. It definitely has a higher ABV. It's 7.5, so it's a little bit stronger from that point of view.
A little bit stronger, yeah.
But I will say, if you do like Guinness, I would highly encourage you, and you can get the Foreign Extra Stout, I would highly encourage you to try it, because it's, in my opinion, and I'm just saying, but I prefer this over the Extra Stout. I think it brings up way more of the Guinness character. And it's also an historic brew that Guinness started doing in the 1800s, like as a West Indies porter. So it has like a long history. So it's definitely not a beer you want to have few of. It's more like a one, I would say, at least for me. While the draft, like, it's you can drink a few of them and you'll be fine. This one here is a little bit more heavy, a little bit more rich. It demands attention.
There you go, and this is actually the opposite. So if anybody likes something a little bit more easy drinking, something that's a little lighter on the flavor, Smithwick is definitely for you. It's very, very light in flavor. I've heard a lot of criticisms about it where it's actually a little bit too bland for people. So if you are looking for a beer that's a little bit more easy drinking, if you're maybe not such an experienced beer drinker, if you want something that's going to be easily sessionable but still have some body to it and still have a little bit of character to it, Smithwick is definitely the way to go. I mean, there's no hop presence on this beer whatsoever. So if you're not a fan of bitterness in one way or another, this could be the beer for you. It's really just nice roasted malts that you get on the flavor there. Mouth feels really creamy and soft, really easy drinking. So if that appeals to you, give Smithwick a try this St. Patrick's Day. Now that you've got our first suggestions, let's get into some of our viewer suggestions. Thank you again for everybody who took the time to leave a comment on that video to let us know what beers you suggest for this St. Patrick's Day. It's a one man's odyssey, so good old Nathan, one of the longtime viewers of the channel, actually said he came on. So this convinced me that I need to try more Irish beers. It's true, because I struggled to think of any that weren't Guinness. Well, hopefully, this is the point, Nate. This is the point of this video. Hopefully this can give some people some ideas if you're thinking of an Irish beer for St. Patrick's Day, and all you can think about is Guinness and you want some other suggestions. Hopefully you get some good ones here. Ooh. Okay, so this is a good one, Alessandro. I think you know a little bit about this brewery. So we had Nick Constantine. He commented and said there's a fantastic microbrewery in County Sligo over in Ireland called the White Hag Brewing Company. Not useful for anyone outside of Ireland or in the UK, as I don't think they export too far. But if you can find their beers, they are definitely worth a try.
It was a very interesting comment that caught my attention. And obviously, I haven't had any of their beers, but I went on the website, a little bit of digging. The White Hag, is this brewery that seems to have like a very wide selection of IPA styles and sours. But looking a little bit on their website, one caught my attention because it was the only one that wasn't presented as in a can. And it was one in a glass, dark. So I clicked on it, and it's actually called the Black Pig. And if you read a little bit about it, it's their take on Irish dry stout. It's a nitro infused, so it's obviously referencing Guinness as their take on that style.
Yeah.
But what I liked about it is that it has a legend that comes with it. They call it the Black Pig because apparently nearby, at a certain point, there was this black pig that was possessed by this evil spirit, and this pig apparently started to go around and kill people, and finally the hunters were able to kill it and stop that streak of killing. And because they were afraid, like they buried it with a bunch of stones, mud, like, and created like a mound that apparently is still visible nowadays, and it's right next to the brewery. So there you go, a little bit of a legend there on this beer.
How would this pig kill that many people? How does a pig even kill somebody? Does it trample them? Does it ram them? I don't know.
I don't know, man. Like, I was wondering the same thing when I read about it. Like,
it's a powerful pig.
It's a possessed pig, so maybe it has superpowers.
Maybe it was all the beer the pig was drinking.
That's a
Maybe
possibility.
that's what made it black. Maybe it was drinking way too much stout.
That's a
down
possibility.
In County Sligo. You guys down in County Sligo, you're feeding your pigs way too much stout. We had good old FG username commented, Murphy Stout is my personal fave. We love Murphy Stout here on the channel. We've done a full review of Murphy's. I'll put a link to it down below. Great to watch in this lead up to St. Patrick's Day from last year's lead up. Fantastic stout. Love Murphy's. Actually, Murphy's is one of the only stouts that I actually, aside from Guinness, that I crave every once in a while. Since having it for the first time, it's very different. It's very unique. I mean, it's much more along that milk stout kind. Yeah, Murphy's is top notch. It's very flavorful. I think the chocolate elements, from what I remember, are very much more forward on that than anything else.
For sure.
Delicious. Love me some Murphs. We have David Amador. Hey guys, I say Harp Lager beer. Yeah, I like that for St. Pete.
Yes.
Who doesn't like a good Harp? Again, another beer we've reviewed.
Great.
Post that down below. Really interesting story to Harp. I mean, Harp was Guinness's answer to the lager craze, which I believe in the 70s. Was it late 60s, early 70s, I believe, that they started brewing Harp. And in the UK, there was this big craze of lagers that were taking over the market when traditionally it had been porters and stouts and ales and darker ales that had been the go-tos in that region of the world. And so they created the Harp Lager, which was their first lager, released under the Guinness brand. And then finally, we have Jake Perillo. Good old Jake. Jake's commented on a few of our videos. Thank you for your viewership, Jake. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. And so Jake said, O'Hara's flies under the radar a little bit when it comes to Irish beers. Their Nitro Stout is really good. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%, Jake. O'Hara's, I can get that here in Ontario. Fantastic. Really good. I saw it on the shelf. I remember around Christmas, they had a mix pack of different beers, but their stout is really, really, really good. It's very fine, similar to Guinness. O'Hara's actually, it's funny, one of the biggest microbreweries in Ireland. Ireland isn't really known for their microbreweries. I think they've been really focused on the macro beers for the longest time, the big beer companies that you can think of. But O'Hara's, which was known as the Carlow Brewing Company as well, is an Irish craft brewery located in County Carlow. So that's where the name comes from. And it's one of the largest craft breweries in Ireland. There you go. And actually, due to the dominance of macro beers at the time, the brewery was initially very export orientated. So they actually started exporting their beers in mass before focusing on local production, because I guess people in Ireland like the brands that they know. They like the macro beers. So there you go. Thank you to everybody who commented. We love getting you guys involved in the videos and getting some suggestions from our viewers on what beers to try this St. Patrick's Day. But my friend, it is time to close our St. Patrick's Day beer brackets.
Let's do it.
We'll put these delicious beers aside for a moment.
Let me get my glass here. It's St. Patrick's Day. I couldn't but close with the good old pint of Guinness draft.
The classic. How can you not have just a pint of straight Guinness draft on St. Patrick's Day?
It's just like, I was thinking like maybe good, but we had to feature it. It's just like, it's got to be there. It's unique. It's perfect. It's Ireland in a glass, if I may say.
Not much to say on that one. Okay, so for my closing beer bracket and for our final recommendation of the day, it has got to be building off Smithwick's. Oh, it is the Kilkenny cream ale, Irish cream ale. So cream ales are generally brewed to be light and refreshing with a straw to pale golden color. But the thing is, and Alessandra, we've noticed this with cream ales before, is that there isn't really a set style. It's really open to interpretation, right? If you go around and you start Googling cream ale, you're not going to find one very specific definition of what it is. But in general, the idea behind cream ales is that they're lighter in flavor, lighter in body, and tend to be easier to drink, which comes down to the comparison to cream. There is no cream in them, no dairy products in these beers. Yeah, no. So don't worry about it if you got the lactose intolerance. The recipe comes from the Smithwick's family brewery, and the ale's name was originally used in the 1980s and 90s for the European and Canadian markets exclusively that had a hard time pronouncing Smithwick's. So they thought they would just use the name Kilkenny, and they rebranded it for specific markets, which is actually really interesting. So it was, for the most part, the same beer originally. And the Kilkenny that we know today is meant to be a little bit stronger version. I mentioned how the Smithwick's was really kind of light in flavor. The Kilkenny Cream Ale is meant to be a little bit stronger. And Alessandro, interesting enough to you, are you already on your Guinness? Okay, let me open this up. Woo!
Please, sorry, I thought you had already poured it, but
because you can't find it down in Florida. We would have loved to do a full review of Kilkenny, but you can't find it.
Nope.
And I was reading that it is exported mostly to Europe and Canada, interestingly enough, and specifically Montreal, my beautiful hometown of Montreal, according to the Wikipedia, is a Kilkenny hub. More bars per capita serve Kilkenny in Montreal than in any other North American or European city. So Montrealers are a fan of Kilkenny, and that's probably why, like I was telling Alessandro once, you go into any corner store in Montreal, and they are corner stores on every second street corner that sell beer and wine. They all have Kilkenny. All of them, which seems pretty random for people in the States, I'd imagine, if you can't get this where you are. But
no, yeah.
And so look at that. It is the same kind of coloration as the Smithwick's, but it's got that, obviously that widget in there. So it's got the nitro infusion, but oh my God, look at that beauty. So if you're looking for something a little bit easier drinking than Guinness, something that's has the same creaminess, the same nitro infusion, but not as dark and roasty, something a little bit more sessionable, give Kilkenny a try. Cheers, everybody. I hope everybody has a fun St. Patrick's Day. Let us know down below, please, what are your go-to St. Patrick's Day beers? What are you going to be drinking this St. Patty's Day? COVID's finally up, it looks like. Are you going to a St. Patrick's Day party? What are you going to be bringing? Let us know down below.
Yeah.
Cheers, everybody. Sláinte.
Sláinte. And don't forget to close your beer brackets.
Don't forget to close your Irish beer brackets.